So today we're going to be making kombucha, and it's super simple. Like honestly, once you get a SCOBY, which is the most important part, which is Michael.
Well, I'm glad you asked, Alishea. A SCOBY is
A symbiotic?
a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast.
Yay! So that's a SCOBY, and basically it's just the whole process is based on a SCOBY, and they reproduce very easily. So you're going to end up with a lot if you start with one. You need a little bit of sugar because obviously the SCOBYs do eat the sugar. That's how they survive and ferment and create all the good yeast in the kombucha. And then basically you just need a bottle that has a top like this because it's going to ferment itself, and you want it to be nice and fizzy and carbonated. And you need some black tea. So basically we're going to start with a new batch. I've pre-batched some black tea. It's basically just 4 cups of water and 6 tea bags with, I used 1/3 cup of sugar on the stove, and then you need to wait for that to come to room temperature before you add it, because you need it to be the same temperature as your initial SCOBY batch and kombucha batch. You don't want to startle the SCOBY. They startle easily. No, not really. Okay, so basically we're gonna release the SCOBY. What we're gonna do is we're gonna save about a cup of this liquid for the next batch of kombucha to make, and we're gonna put the rest into the bottle, and that's gonna be the one that we can drink. I'm gonna take the SCOBYs out. I'll leave one for Michael.
Oh, yuck.
This is a healthy one though. See all these brown goopy things? But we're gonna use this to make our drinkable batch. So what we're gonna add first is usually just a teaspoon of white sugar. And again, like don't be like, oh, sugar's bad. Like it actually needs it to eat and ferment and carbonate, which is the whole point of kombucha. Everyone loves a good fizzy kombucha. Also, this is the fun part because you can add any flavor. We've done grapefruit, apple. This is our first batch trying lemon, ginger, and then you can do the honors.
What am I doing?
You can pour this into there.
Yuck.
Oh, stop. Basically, to get from this point to this point, it's been in the jar for about 5 to 7 days. You can always taste test though too, because when we started, sometimes it would be a little bit too vinegary, which sort of meant that we'd left it a little bit too long. Or if it's too sweet, then it's a little bit too early and it hasn't eaten enough of the sugars basically yet. So this one, before we drink it, we're gonna leave again for about 3 days unrefrigerated on the bench. Usually somewhere darker is more preferable. And then we're gonna put it in the fridge, and as soon as it's refrigerated, it's gonna be ready to drink. So now we're gonna show you how we get from our 1 cup and SCOBYs back to a brewing kombucha batch. So basically we're gonna pour and put the SCOBYs back into our clean and rinsed jar.
This one into this one.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's so disgusting.
Yes. And then basically we called this our sweet tea mix. So basically this is our fresh mix that the kombucha's gonna eat. It's gonna ferment and thrive on. We're gonna pour that in the top. So you can't put a closed screw lid on because it still does need to breathe and oxygen needs to get in there, but you just don't want any like nasty other bacteria or insects getting in there as well. At the end of like 5 to 7 days, you're gonna get another SCOBY growing at the top, and you'll be able to do another batch. So you might also be wondering where you can get a SCOBY. I was lucky enough to be gifted one from a girlfriend, but she got hers from a health food store, or you can also buy them online from Amazon. They'll strangely enough ship them to you with a starter batch of kombucha that you can then create yourself at home. Once you've left your kombucha in the smaller bottle for 3 days, you will need to probably burp it and refrigerate it. So basically we're gonna burp it. Hopefully you'll hear some fizz, which means it's doing a great job at carbonating. And then we're gonna put it in the refrigerator and it'll be good to go.
Hey.
Nice and gentle, and we didn't have to pay for it. People are gonna think we're so like budgety,
You keep saying just like
we're so cheap.